Hey, you. Yes, you watching this video right now. Do you want to learn how I break down bodies like this from references? Well, I want to know too. So let's get started. Let's flip to a blank page in my sketchbook and let's pull up a reference. Now, I like to go onto Pinterest. Don't mind the pins recommended to me here. And I have a board full of dynamic poses, as you can clearly see. Now, um, how, most people don't have, so many dynamic poses saved to their profile, and they don't know how to tell which ones are AI and which ones aren't. So when you look up for a reference on Pinterest, you might be bombarded with a ton of AI photos. Well, how do we change this, you ask? Let's go to settings, refine your recommendations. That's this button right here, settings and support, and then refine your recommendations. I think that on mobile it looks slightly different. Like you have to go into your profile and go to account settings, and then you'll see something like this pop up, but like it takes up the entire phone page. Anyways, let's go to refine your recommendations, and let's go to Gen AI interest. Now, as you can see, all of mine are turned off. But yours will most likely be turned on. So you want to turn these off, and then you can start searching for your references. So let's look at my board again, and let's search for an image that I feel like replicating the pose of today. You know what? This should be fun. Whoops. Okay, this should be fun. Alright, now that we've got our reference, let's actually do some art. Wait, hold on, let me set this up so that I actually have room to draw. Okay, so as we can see in the reference that I chose, the head is, actually, let's open this image in a new tab because I want to see it bigger. And how do I full screen this? Hold on. You know what? This is fine for now. So, okay. So as you can see, the head is tilted backwards. It's got kind of like sideways to it. So let's try to draw the head tilted backwards. Now this is the front plane of the head. And this, don't mind the chicken scratching, front plane of the head, right? And this is the side plane, right? And then goes a little bit to the back because heads are circular. And there you go, you have the head. Now, I personally like to set timers for 10 minutes, and then take a 10-second break every 10 minutes or so. Okay. So, wait, hold on. Let me make sure that my volume is on so I can actually hear the timer when it goes off. So, now that we got the head down, let's see. The neck is kind of angled this way. As you can see, the neck, I draw it as like a cylinder because it's a cylindrical shape. Really, it's like it's not a box because that's not what it looks like. It looks like a cylinder. So that's how I simplify it. I really hope this image is an AI and that this anatomy turns out accurate, because I personally don't have a really good sense of how to tell whether something is AI generated or not if it looks photorealistic, because I don't study anatomy too often. Anyways, now for the shoulder, you can see the shoulder is kind of going upwards. So let's make sure we have it angled upwards properly. I do it as kind of like this triangular shape. I like to think of it as sort of like it's like a joint though, so it can move. But there's also a muscle on top of that joint. So as you can see, the shape is made up of the joint and then the muscle on top of the joint. I don't really know a lot of anatomy, but I can figure out that much just by like observing stuff in real life. A really good tip on how to get better at drawing in general is just practice what you see to drawing what you see in real life. Still lifes are really good at like making you practice perspective and stuff like that. Now for the other shoulder, you can see it's not arching downwards, but it's definitely like diagonal in terms of the other shoulder. And I think there's a bit more room here, because if you look at the reference, there's a bit more room between here and here than what I originally had down on the paper, and that's okay, because we're not trying to make this perfect, we're just trying to make it a good breakdown of the human figure in that particular dynamic pose. And then, let's see. It goes up like this a little bit, because that's the muscle part, remember? This is the joint, this is the muscle. Joint, muscle. And then there's the sort of cylindrical shape that like that's the arm, I believe. And I think there are muscles on top of the arm as well, so you can go like this if you'd like, but I personally prefer to keep it just cylinders to make things a lot simpler for myself. The reason I have shoulders as joints and muscles is because it's easier to see how much space they take up when they're a joint and a muscle, and it's also easier for me to remember that even though there's a joint, there's still going to be like some like more volume there than just a joint, because there's a muscle right on top of that joint. And then another cylindrical shape right here. I believe this is gonna be shorter than the previous cylinder. I think I accidentally made this one too short. Don't mind the chicken scratching again. I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning. This is just how I personally like to break this down. And this might change in the future. This is just what I right now have as a method that works. And then that's cylinder. And then we got a joint right here for the wrist. And the hand can be simplified into this box shape. Now, of course, I'm not drawing it as a box because I believe that's the form. I think it's more like here and kind of like that. But I'm drawing it as a box in order to make it seem 3D to me. And it's kind of hard for myself to like visualize things in 3D, which is why I like doing this exercise. Then joint, it's a joint here for the thumb. Why I'm not doing a joint for the rest of the fingers is because right now I'm still working on practicing the form of hands because I'm not very good at that still. And it's kind of like this mitten shape, and then thumb is kind of like this cylindrical shape, I think, at least as far as I can tell. And as you can see, it's not perfectly accurate to the reference, which I'm gonna fix where this thumb is, just give me a second, but it's not perfectly accurate, but it's good enough for me, because it's good practice. And then, let's see, so, the torso, I believe, like the chest part of the torso is like this, right? Like this. Right, but we don't want this part because that goes up to the shoulder and we don't want this much. And then just make it 3-dimensional because the human figure is 3-dimensional. And there's a bit more of this side showing, so here I like to draw a box. Again, I do not believe that that is how the human figure looks entirely. I just do think that, like, a box is a good way to represent it in 3 dimensions. Why am I defending boxes so much? Is it because I'm afraid to get dogged on? No, it's because I follow Sam's art, and I don't want him to be disappointed in me. I'm just kidding. It's not that deep. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Actually, this is longer, which is hard to see because of the skirt. This is a challenging reference because it does have a skirt on it. And it's not just tight-fitting clothing, like most references that I pick are. And then, let's see. Something that I can do is I can simplify the pelvis area into 3 circles. 2 for the gluteus maximus and 1 for the reproductive organ. And then I believe the timer is going off right now. Oh no, there's still like a minute left to it. Never mind. And then, let's keep going. Let's actually focus on this arm, because I have not done that, which is unfortunate, but, let's just do a cylinder here. Right, cylinder. I need to make the cylinder better. Again, don't mind the chickens crashing. I'm still a beginner. Still learning. Not confident yet. I need to practice a bit in pen, I think, so that I can get confident. I also need to practice with different body types, because right now I've been practicing with one specific body type with one specific type of proportions, and I don't want to stay stagnant in this area for too long. Like, yes, my art has improved rapidly because I'm doing this, but I also need to do more challenging things. Like, a really good way to improve and get better at art is to do something that challenges you. Well, do more than one thing that challenges you. Do a lot of things that challenge you. But don't do them all at the same time. Try to learn as much as you can. And then another cylinder. And as you can see, this is a really iterative process. There isn't like sitting still for like, and like the reason that this takes so long is because I keep erasing and going over because I want it to look right. But I do have the basic forms down. It's just putting them in the correct way. I actually like this stylization better than this stylization. So I'll go back over and I'll get rid of this and I'll do it like that. And it looks like the timer is over, so let's pause for 10 seconds, count to 10 in our heads, and then let's go back to drawing. Okay, let's go back to drawing. Let's set another timer. And we're good. Now, like I was saying before, if I like the way that I stylized it in a different area, like in one leg I did it this way, and I liked it better than what I had in the other leg, then I'll go back and I'll fix it like I did right now with the arms. And now, wait, I forgot to draw the wrist. The wrist is important, guys. Take care of it. Do some wrist exercises after this. That's interesting. Because you see, the thumb here is over here, but if I put my hand out, like, the wrist must be turned in a really, really interesting manner. Let me zoom in on this hand real quick. Oh, no, it's not. It was just a trick of the light. Interesting. Okay. Because I thought the thumb was on the other side of the hand, but it was really just a trick of the light. So you gotta be careful with things like that. Now, thumb and mitten for the hand. Now let's go on to the legs. Now, this leg, this is really tricky. Hold on. Let me redo this part. Because this is out front, right? But then this, and then this is behind that. And I want to make sure that's clear on this paper. And then let's draw this. And sometimes it's hard for me to go from one cylinder of the leg straight to the and then draw the joint and then draw the other. So I'll draw in the kneecap first as a placeholder for the joint. And then I'll draw the other side of the leg. And then I'll go back and I'll add in the joint. Interesting because, right, and then you don't see any of this because this is actually taking up this entire place. So, which is something I got wrong at my first attempt of simplifying it, which is okay because there are things that are gonna go wrong, obviously. And then, let's see. This is gonna be a bit more curved. And yeah, okay. And then let's draw the other leg. Again, cylinders. Everything can be worked into 3D shapes. So long as you remember that there are muscles that pull on those shapes and make them shift in certain ways. And they're like, like for a part of a leg or something, not like for a joint. That can make it twist in a certain way. Like, for example, here in the torso, you can see that this box is actually twisting because there are muscles that are pulling on it that make it twist backwards like this. Because you can see over here in the reference, it goes down and that way, that's the flow. And then here on the paper, it's not that obvious, but the flow, the torsion is still twisting down and that way, like that. That's the way that the box is twisting. And then, let's see. We got another cylinder here. And then let's draw the kneecap because I have no clue where the knee goes unless I draw the kneecap in. Which, I mean, I should be able to get rid of this habit at some point. Hold on, the kneecap isn't here. The kneecap is here on this leg. And then it can be like this. Cylinder below it, I mean. Let's see how much time is left on the timer. We still got like 3 minutes. Okay. And then we draw in the joint because we always want to draw in the joint. And now for the feet, I like to simplify it into 2 parts. 1, the foot, 2, the toe. So, as you can see, the foot and the toes are both like this. Like the foot can be simplified into a box, and the toes can be simplified into this same in shape that I used for the hand. And again, these boxes can twist and turn. Oh, I forgot to add in the joint for the ankle to make sure that it is in fact cohesive and we actually know what we're doing. And actually, wait, the box isn't twisted this way. It's twisted like this. And then this mitten shape. And hold on, let's make this skinnier because and of course you can always add more curves to a shape because this is the human body we're talking about. And now something else that I like to do is sometimes I'll like to add detail to the face. So like the ear is gonna be here. We're Stick With Me pencil. Mechanical pencils are amazing. I love them much better than any other pencils. Anyways, the ear is gonna be here, and then the eyes, well, the eyes are gonna be here, and there's an eyebrow going up like that. Then the nose, I think it's fair to say that it looks like a pyramid. The lips can be simplified down into spheres. Well, 3 spheres for the top lip and 2 spheres for the bottom lip. And then sometimes I like to add in the hair. So like here. And of course, I'm not going into much detail because this is an anatomy practice. It's not meant to be much more than that. And voila, think we are finished. Except this actually is not turned this way. Let's fix that. You see, it's turned this way. That is much better. See the difference? Anyways, after you're done with the drawing, and I think our timer just finished, after you're done with the drawing, take, say, like 20 minutes to recharge. I personally like to go on Finch, put on like a soundscape for half an hour, go for a walk, take a drink of water, clean my room, do my laundry, stuff like that, you know? Self-care. Take a shower, maybe, just like a list of activities that you can do. Anyways, let's title this Anatomy Practice. And then let's sign it. And that's it.